What's up guys, my name is Mark. This year's free agency has been interesting. There's been some surprising moves, some expected moves. We're not totally done with all the signings yet, but so far, I think we have decided some winners and some losers. Now before we get going, thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. SeatGeek is a place where you can buy tickets to concerts and sporting events. It's where you can go on the app, you preview all of the seats before you buy it, you compare prices from different ticket selling websites so you know that you get the best deal possible. This is a must-have app for anyone who's ever been to sporting events or who plans to go in the future. SeatGeek's interface is super easy to navigate, so not only do you get the best deal possible, but you also get the ticket much quicker. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can download the app and use my promo code MDJ for $20 off of your first purchase. The first winner of the 2018 NBA free agency is the Lakers. I'm still shocked by the fact that LeBron signed for a 3+1 contract. The fact that the Lakers have him locked down for the next 3 years is very important. Their other signings are decent, but nothing game-changing. Rondo for $9 million is a bit much. KCP for $12 seems pretty fair. Lance Stevenson for $4.3 seems pretty fair. JaVale McGee for the minimum is actually a pretty good deal. It is disappointing though that they couldn't pair LeBron with another star free agent, but still, they're undoubtedly winners in this year's free agency. You get LeBron, you're a winner. Loser, the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think this needs much explanation. I am curious as to where Kevin Love will end up. It seems like Cleveland has no choice but to go for a full rebuild, and Love still has trade value, especially if he starts putting up big numbers again now that both LeBron and Kyrie are gone. It'd be cool to see him in somewhere like Toronto or Portland where he can still make a difference in the playoffs. Winner, the Washington Wizards. Coming into the offseason, nobody gave much thought to the Washington Wizards since they didn't have much cap space nor any intriguing draft picks. But they made 3 fantastic moves that make them winners in my eyes. First was trading Marcin Gortat for Austin Rivers. For the past 2 seasons, Gortat has been holding back the Wizards defense. Despite being a consistent smart player and having good chemistry with John Wall, Gortat's athletic decline has rendered him a subpar defender and rebounder. Getting Austin Rivers in return gives the Wizards bench its much needed playmaking. One of the biggest factors in Washington's playoff losses against Toronto and Boston in the past 2 years was that John Wall and Bradley Beal were gassed out towards the end of each of the series because Washington had no competent backup guard or playmaker. Rivers will be the best they've had in years. Their second move was signing Dwight Howard to a 2 years $11 million contract. There's a lot you can say about Dwight, but the guy can still rebound, he can still finish around the rim, and he can still block shots. As long as he doesn't call for the ball in the post all the time or screw up the locker room, he's a big upgrade over Marcin Gortat at a remarkably cheap price. And finally, signing Jeff Green to a 1-year $2.5 million contract is also a good move, solidifying a playoff-worthy bench, something that could not be said for the Washington Wizards these past 3 or 4 years. Loser, the Charlotte Hornets. I don't really know what Charlotte is doing. They essentially swapped Dwight Howard for Bismack Biyombo and 3 second-round picks, which isn't terrible if you consider age as a factor. But then you look at Bismack Biyombo's contract and you see that he's owed $34 million over the next 2 years. And then you think about how many centers Charlotte already has. Cody Zeller and Willy Hernangomez. And those 3 guys, Zeller, Hernangomez, and Bismack Biyombo, you pretty much can only play one of those guys on the court at any given moment. And then Frank Kaminsky, who can definitely play power forward, but in today's NBA, you probably want Kaminsky to play center at least sometimes. 2 years, $11 million for Tony Parker does address a need for a backup guard, but out of all people, why go after a declining veteran? They could have went after Elfrid Payton or Seth Curry, who both signed for less. I guess signing Parker means that they're not going to rebuild or trade away Walker, which I guess have fun fighting for the 8th seed. Winner, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not surprised that they re-signed Paul George, but I am surprised that he, like LeBron, signed a 3+1 year contract. This is good for OKC since they can be sure to have both PG and Westbrook locked up for the next 3 years. Additionally, re-signing Jeremy Grant is also good. 3 years, $27 million is a slight gamble, but because you are betting on him improving his game, it's a good gamble to make. The Melo situation isn't final yet as of the making of this video, but if they successfully buy him out, it'll be a good thing. Also, signing Nerlens Noel to 2 years, $3.5 million is a good deal. I don't care what anyone says. I am staying on the Nerlens Noel hype train, and I intend to die on this train if that's what happens to Noel's career. Loser. The Houston Rockets. The Rockets are far from done from making moves this offseason, so they could still end up winners, but so far, they've been losers. Now, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Chris Paul for 4 years, $160 million is a bad contract. It just is. Look, we all saw in last year's playoffs, CP3 can still ball out and compete against the best at his position when healthy. He has a long history of injuries dating back to the Clippers days. Even if he miraculously manages to stay healthy, he's already 33 years old and he'll be 38 by the end of this contract. There's only downside from here on out, and $40 million per year is a lot to risk. Losing Trevor Ariza is pretty brutal, but it doesn't seem like there was much Houston could do there if Phoenix was going to offer Ariza 1 year and $15 million. Losing Luka Mbamute was also difficult, but getting James Ennis was pretty good. Ennis isn't exactly the shooter that Ariza is, so he doesn't exactly replace him. We've yet to see what happens with Clint Capella. If they re-sign him on a good deal and then maybe get Carmelo Anthony on a minimum contract, that could reverse their offseason outcome. Winner, the Denver Nuggets. I've seen a lot of people label the Nuggets as winners, and I'm doing so too, but I'm less confident about it than they are. Let's start with the moves I like. Will Barton for 4 years, $54 million. Barton's a very underrated player with upside, and in today's league, you need more wing players like him. Dumping the salaries of Kenneth Faried, Wilson Chandler, and Darrell Arthur were also pretty good moves. Now onto the two other moves, which I'm very hesitant to label as a knockdown win. The Isaiah Thomas signing isn't bad because it's almost impossible to call a minimum contract bad, though there is a chance that IT will do just as much harm to Denver's defense as he will strengthen Denver's offense. Also, let's be honest about this, Isaiah Thomas has a huge ego. It's an understandable ego since he's a year removed from being an All-NBA player, but if he still thinks he's an All-NBA player, that's going to be a headache for Denver. He'll want to play in crunch time, but I don't think Denver's best lineup should feature him, especially if they want to focus on developing Jamal Murray. And then Nikola Jokic for a max extension, 5 years, 148. It's not a bad contract, but it's just not great either. There are players that perform right at the maximum salary level. I would count Paul Millsap as one of those players. And then there are players that outperform their maximum salary contracts. Players like LeBron and Steph Curry and Anthony Davis. As of right now, Jokic is closer to the former, but he's so young that it's possible that he ends up in the latter. I'm still counting the Nuggets as winners, but I think there's more to see. And finally, the last winner, and really the only winner that matters, are the Golden State Warriors. I'm not even sure what to say at this point. So 2 years ago, the Golden State Warriors formed the best 4-man lineup in history, and also the best 5-man lineup in history, to be honest. And then, a year later, or 2 years later rather, they beat the best 5-man lineup in history by another mile. I actually just thought about this the other day. This is essentially Team USA, isn't it? Steph, Clay, and KD, and Dre, and DeMarcus Cousins? Isn't that just Team USA? It's Team USA or just an all-star team against NBA teams. But it's better than the all-star game though, because the all-star game nobody tries. At least in this, people will be trying to beat these 5 guys. And that will be extremely fun to watch. So again, as a basketball fan, I'm super happy about this because this will unleash types of basketball that I don't think anybody has seen yet. But then again, from a parity perspective, the season's pretty much over. It would take one of Clay, KD, or Steph getting injured and DeMarcus Cousins not being his former self for there to even be a shot at someone else winning the title. I think that's where we're at with the NBA. But anyways, if you have any thoughts on the winners and losers I chose, leave them down in comments below. And we're not done with free agency yet. There's a lot of restricted free agents in particular that have yet to sign. So some of these stuff could change. Winners could emerge, losers could become winners, winners can become losers. But those are my thoughts as of right now. Thank you for watching the video. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more NBA content, and I'll see you next time.